You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about breaking addictions. Now, addictions can be anything. It can be alcoholism, it can be food, it can be sleep. If we sleep too much, it can be addicted to a relationship. So I want you to think about where in your life do you have an addiction? It may not be even to the most severe power. It could just be a habit that you're looking to break, but that you know it doesn't serve you. So that's kind of our focus for today. And we're going to be talking to our inspirational guest in our next segment, Brandon Rudolph, who's going to talk about his addiction with alcoholism and how he went in and out of rehab and really broke the cycle, but then would drink again, and just the cycle of frustration that he went through, the loss, the time that he lost, and how he got his life back, how he reclaimed it. So we can all learn a lot from Brandon's story. Now, if you have questions on today's show, I want you to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, connect@livingfullout.com, and we'll make sure that you get the resources you need so that you are supported in overcoming and breaking those addictions. Also, if you have an inspirational story, we would really enjoy hearing from you. Perhaps we can have you on as a guest to inspire our audience. Lastly, if you want to hear today's show again or share it with a friend, feel free to go to livingfullout.com. All the episodes will be waiting there for you. Also, if you have an Alexa, you can catch our show there, or we're in all the app stores. So if you want to hear us on your phone, just download the Living Full Out app and you can hear us on the go. But today it is about breaking those addictions or habits and just figuring out how we can bring that focus into our life. And there's many different ways in which that occurs. So we're actually going to go to the phone lines now. I'm getting word from our producer that we have a caller, and we'll go check in with them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi. So I have a question. So this upcoming school year, I'll be a senior in college, and I'm wondering how to cope with kind of the stress and anxiety of looking for jobs and applying to jobs that will relate to my degree.
I do remember that time. I'm sure a lot of people are raising their hand going, I do remember that time. It is scary, right? Because you get this degree, you've paid so much money for it, and then what? And what is your chosen profession? What do you want to do?
I want to go into publishing and, just kind of be a publisher.
Got it. Now, what I recommend is this. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile already, start one. But if you do, I want you to go on there and research other publishers and try to see if you can dialogue with them via email or even schedule a time to talk to them on the phone and learn how they got to where they are. Just say, hey, can I have 15 minutes of your time, 30 minutes of your time? Even if you can find one in your local area, see if you can go shadow them for the day or take them out for coffee. That's one great place to start, because when you can learn a lot from other people as to how they got there, what they would have done differently. And most of all, it's believing in yourself. And so when you consider a career in publishing, do you have the mindset that you are a small fish in a big pond, or you're a big fish in a small pond?
I definitely do.
That you're what, the small fish or the big fish?
Oh, like the small fish.
You're the small fish. Okay, so let's talk about that. What makes you such a small fish? Why do you feel that way?
I just feel like there's so much competition, and even just within my major, there's just so many other people who want to do the same thing and who want to do publishing. So it just feels like there's so much competition, and like I can't compete.
You know what? I love that you said that, because here's the thing. The way that you write, and even when you advance your career to publishing, that's going to be in a voice that a certain following is going to admire or really listen to. And I even encounter that in my own career, speaking, right? I'm not the only speaker out there. I'm not the only radio show host out there. But I know that the people who listen to our show, or the people who might book me to speak for their organization, it's because whatever I say, the listening's there. we gel, basically. So what I want you to consider is not the fact that you're a small fish. It's just finding that pool of people that really get you. Your writing inspires them. It moves them. It educates them. And then when you advance further into publishing, it's the way that your mind works, the way that you see taking the publishing industry and tweaking it in your way, in your own style. And try not to worry about the competition, because there is literally only one you. Do you get that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what is one thing that you can do today that will advance you towards your publishing career?
Well, I can definitely do what you said I do already have a LinkedIn, but I can definitely try to improve my LinkedIn and build upon it. And maybe just reach out to friends I have that are also English majors and see what kind of advice they have or connections that they know at all.
Absolutely.
With how to do publishing.
Absolutely. And just let it start there. And what you might do is play a little game with yourself. On LinkedIn, I'm going to network with 2 people a week. I'm going to try to schedule a call with 1 person a month. And that I promise you, as the months go down the line, you're really going to see yourself advance towards your career. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. And I love
so much. You too.
You're welcome. I love that caller asked that question, because I think we all have those times in our life where we feel intimidated. We feel like we're comparing ourselves to others. And how do we stand tall? How do we reach higher? So I'm so thankful she asked that question. Now I'm getting word for our producer that we have another caller on the line. We'll go say hello to them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Oh, hi.
Hi, how can we help? Yeah, how can we help you today?
Well, I just want to get your opinion on something. I'm kind of a loyalist when it comes to friends and family. And there's been a family member who's, I feel, not been treated well by another family member. And we don't see the other family member too often, but it just makes me, it's kind of building up a little bit of resentment toward that person. And sometimes it makes me want to say something to them, but I feel like it's not my place. So I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that. And then, just at some point, just to stand up for the relative who's kind of put up with being mistreated, sometimes I wonder, when do you just write somebody off? Because, I just think it's important to treat people well, and, just want to know what you thought.
Well, I think you're asking a great question, and we've all been there, honestly. And those are oftentimes considered toxic relationships. And the thing is you have to decide over time, because consider your life has chapters to it, right? It's a book, right? You're the author. You're the main character. And just because people are in your life for certain chapters doesn't mean they're in your life forever. You get to decide the role that people play in your life. So this relative, this person that you're talking about, who are they to you? Are they a close relative?
Yeah, somewhat close. I don't see them often, but just, I guess, in relatability, they're close.
Okay, so somewhat close. Okay, so the thing is what you have to look at is that relative somebody that you're going to see often, where there's going to be this awkwardness and it's going to be hard to let them go or even have some distance between you? Or is this relative someone that is really kind of distant anyway, and really there may be nothing that you need to do? You might just let that relationship stay dormant. Just kind of hang out there. Because in life,
but
it's
do you
kind
think
of like...
I should have ever said anything to them?
Well, I believe in life, if you're going to go big, play big. Meaning that if you want that relationship to change, the only way you're going to get it to change is by telling that person or sharing with that person what's going on. So in that way, I would talk to them. But I think if you just follow your heart and your gut, you'll be fine. But I really appreciate you calling in and keep us posted on how it goes.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a great day. And for everybody listening, that caller, your challenges, whatever addictions that you're looking to break, we can do it together. It's all about living full out, going after life in a big way, but knowing that you don't have to put up with toxic relationship, even toxic behaviors. You absolutely have the ability to set them free. Turn that page of your book, start a new chapter, set yourself free. That is how you live full out. We'll be coming right back after this break. Stay with us.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about breaking addictions. It could be a habit. anything that you know is not working, it's not serving you, and we need to let that go so that you can live a life full out. And that's not always easy. Our inspirational guest today, Brandon Ludolf, also experienced the need to let go of his alcoholism. But like so many alcoholics, they try and they try and they try, and it gets very defeating and scary when you don't know if you'll ever make it, where you won't take that drink again. And so he's going to share us his story, and so I'd like to welcome Brandon to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And honestly, talk about someone who speaks from the heart. This is a tough topic, and you're always very vulnerable and honest with not just our audience, but others that I hear you speak to. So thank you for putting yourself out there courageously. I know that you started drinking at an early age, around 14 or so, but it wasn't really until when you were going through your divorce in your early 20s that becoming an alcoholic became more real. Can you share with us kind of what you were going through during that time in terms of the stress and just how much drinking?
Yeah, I was pretty depressed at that point. And then I just started drinking a lot more to deal with depression. And then I would say within a very relatively short time, it became quite the addiction. It really took a hold of me. And once I went so far, there was no turning back.
You know, Brendan, so many of us have had heartbreak. I know I have as well, and I get it. You know, turning to a drink to help ease the pain or kind of numb the anxiety. I understand that. What do you think the difference is between someone who acquires, 3-4 drinks, a bottle of wine, versus the amount of alcohol you were drinking?
For me, it wasn't even about the alcohol, really. It was more chasing away that pain. That feeling that you felt inside, you didn't want to feel it anymore. So the more and more you drank, you were just looking for that short period of time where you forget about everything and that relief.
Mm-hmm. I know that you really wanted that relationship to work out. Even to the very end, you were hoping that you could have got her back until you realized that she had moved on. At that point, did you just throw your hands in the air, kind of give up?
Yeah, at that point, at that age, at that particular time in life, I didn't see anything else worth living for. It was difficult to find purpose, hope. At that time, I had a pretty decent career. I had a decent house. I had a lot of things, but none of that even mattered anymore. It's just, I didn't care. It's like, I didn't care what happened to me. I didn't care if I woke up the next morning. I didn't care if I lost my job. I didn't care if I lost anything.
Well, and you started losing your job. You started losing friendships. And I can completely understand that meant that the mindset you had of, I don't care. Were there any moments during that time where you considered suicide?
Yes, there was actually several. There was certain points in my life to where, from being an ex-police officer, I was very familiar with guns. So I would come home after a week or two long binge and feel very low, and put that gun to my head a couple times. And thankfully, I was never brave enough or strong enough to pull the trigger. But it was definitely a very low point in my life.
Well, I don't even know if it's about bravery or strength. What do you think it is that held you back from pulling that trigger? Do you think, despite all the pain and the darkness, do you think there's a part of you that still had hope?
Yeah, I'm looking back now. It's like you wanted that pain to go away, and you knew suicide wasn't the answer. And there was that hope, is like, in the back of my mind, saying that I know I'm better than this. I know I can get through this. And then, you would never I never wanted to do that to my family. So that kind of deterred me from following through with it.
Well, I know you were a cop, and a really good one, and well respected, but obviously starting drinking and how epic it became in your life for you on a daily basis, you eventually, resigned and lost that job. But then your next career choice was an interesting one. You became a bartender. And tell us about why you chose that as your next profession.
By the time I resigned from being a police officer, I was very heavy into my addiction. So I became a bartender at the place I always went to. All my friends were there. So, and I also knew that you could drink while you were working. So it just made it more convenient to, fulfill my addiction even more than what I already was.
Mm-hmm. Now, you had these certain friends that you would work with or people you knew at the bar, but were other people in your life trying to grab you with both their hands and pull you back from continuing to hurt yourself with alcohol?
Yeah, there were many friends and family that tried and tried and tried, and I just blew them off. Typical, I don't have a problem, I'm fine type responses. But, you go from being the life of the party, people inviting you to come out on the weekends and stuff and can't wait to see you, to nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to be around you. If he's going to be there, I'm not going type stuff, because I was a mess. Was not fun to be around at that point.
So when you're already feeling low, now you're feeling lower because you're not that life of the party anymore.
Right.
I imagine you had some quiet conversations with yourself, a lot of self-talk, a lot of judging yourself. What was the biggest mantra that you kept feeding yourself?
As far as the addiction goes?
Mm-hmm. Was it that you didn't think you were good enough? Did you feel it was hopeless?
I was hopeless, and I just, like I said, I didn't care at that point. I didn't care what people thought of me. I didn't care that I lost everything. It was just a matter of trying to get drunk and get through the day. I mean, that's all what it came down to.
And what was the wake-up call that finally came for you? This is what I want you to start to think about as we go into this break, because as you tell this story, and I'm sure everybody feels it, we feel your pain, we feel the loneliness, we feel the desperation that you had. But what was the moment that was kind of a turning point moment for you? We're going to wait to hear Brandon's story and the rest of it when we come back. But as we talk about breaking addictions today, everybody, this is Brandon's story, but we all have an addiction. So it's really pinpointing what is that in your life and how can we get you over that hurdle so you can live full out. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way with just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about breaking addictions and how do we do that. And our inspirational guest today, Brandon Ludoff, is a perfect person to share that with us because he had his own addiction with alcoholism and years, over a decade of time where he was in and out of rehab and detox, and yet he got through the fire. He got to the other side, and today he is sober. So we're so proud of him for that. So I'd like to welcome Brandon back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So in the last segment, you shared with us all about just the depression, the heaviness, the hopelessness, everything that comes with being an alcoholic. And what I'm curious for you is, what was that tipping point, that maybe an epic moment where it really clicked for you? I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of this.
Well, after many times of trying to get sober, it's like that constant of having to restart your life. But over time, your life becomes more rewarding, more valuable as you progress in your sobriety. But there was this one morning I woke up and I was full of blood everywhere. I have no idea how it happened. And each time what I was experiencing every time that I relapsed was each time was getting more and more dangerous. It was getting more and more severe. That death became more of a reality. And when I woke up in the blood and had no idea, and even to this day I have no idea how it happened. It's just, you know what? I'm tired of this. I don't want to die anymore. There is way too much to live for. So at that point, I was ready to do whatever it took to get sober.
Well, and I'm glad that you had that moment that triggered you to want to go into rehab. And why was rehab after that episode? You went for 60 days. Why was that more impactful than all the other times you had gone to detox, you think?
Actually, after that time, I didn't go to rehab or detox. I reached out to one of my AA buddies, and he came over and sat with me. We talked. And then at that point in my life, I was seeing a counselor, and went to her, saw her the next day, and was really open and more honest than I've ever been with her. And just, I think that component of being honest and more genuine, not just with her who was helping me, but with myself, and really digging in and putting my feet down and doing the work that it took to get there.
So it's interesting because this kind of goes to maybe almost like sports, right? There's team sports and there's individual sports. So at this point in your recovery, it almost seems that you got more out of the one-on-one than if you had been in a room with other people. Why do you think that is?
I just think it's personal preference. I always felt more comfortable sitting down in a room with just me and the counselor than sharing my deepest, darkest moments and secrets with other people. I have nothing against AA. I think it's very rewarding, and I've gotten a lot out of the meetings that I've gone to and met a lot of wonderful, wonderful people through the program. But for me, it's just individual counseling has been more rewarding and has worked, and I still continue to see my counselor yet today.
Kind of to keep you accountable and to keep you on the good path. And I'm just curious, because obviously you were in and out. You'd been alcoholic, then you'd been sober for a while, then you went back to drinking. And in an alcoholic's mind, do they think they can manage it? Like, what is the switch there? I can drink a couple drinks. I got this. What is that mindset?
For me, I did experience that through the whole decade that I've been doing this. I thought maybe once I got to a certain point in my life where I had a job that I loved, I had a house, I had everything that I used to have, relationships, everything, that maybe I could go back to it. And I tried several times, and it didn't work. It might have worked for a month or two, but the moment that something happened in my life that I wasn't happy with, my behaviors went right back to where I was, and that's picking up the bottle and being drunk for 3 or 4 days. So for me, it never worked.
It was really all or nothing, and happily nothing for you. No drinking. And I'm just curious, do you ever look back at your life and are you upset with yourself? Just how much time, how much money has been lost?
That is a yes and no answer. I do look back in my life, and I do experience some a little grief of the time that I lost, that I spent, getting drunk and sitting in bars and not really experiencing life. But on the other hand, I'm thankful for it because it has taught me so much, and I want to be where I'm at today in my life and able to help other people to get through what they're going through without the experiences that I have. One of those key components is when I'm helping other people is I am very genuine and I'm very honest, I'm very open, and that really helps me to relate to that person. And once you sit across with somebody who's in the same pain that you experience, and they hear a little bit of your story, you just see it in their eyes that they don't feel alone anymore, that someone's on their side. And to have that, the deepest, darkest moments in your life is very valuable.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I can perfectly see you doing that for other people. That's just who you are. Now, if you had the opportunity to go back in time, maybe talk to the 14-year-old early on, or maybe talk to the 21-year-old around the time you were having your divorce and all this really started to become more serious, what would you tell yourself?
No, as we were prepping for this show yesterday, I really thought about this question. And my response is today that, get through whatever you got to get through, but always know that living life on this side will always be more valuable than living the life that I did. I mean, life is so much more meaningful and rewarding now that I would never go back to where I was.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine along the journey, there's people that were supporters in your life. Who was the biggest supporter?
My family. There was a point in time where my mom's always been there for me. I mean, she always answers those phone calls when I might have been in jail or whatever. My dad and I never saw eye to eye. And I think the reason was because, he was always there trying to, it might have been tough love, but now looking back on it today and the relationship that him and I have, he probably was one of my biggest supporters, and my biggest fan. So, I mean, it's those relationships that mean the most, and I'm very thankful for them.
Do you have a biggest regret, a relationship that you wish you could go back and change it?
Yes and no. There are some relationships that you lost due to your addiction, and you're like, man, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe things would have worked out a little bit different. But then again, I'm happy where I'm at today. I'm very excited about where I'm going in my future. So I don't know. That was the hard one to answer.
Yeah. And when you look at people in the news, like different celebrities, or even when you're out and about and you see someone who's had too much to drink, what comes to mind for you when you see that these people are out of control?
You can definitely relate to them. You can empathize with them. You've been there. I'm not one to judge them, so that judgmental component's not there. But it's just, you pray for them, and hopefully that they find their own purpose and reason to give it up and live a better life than what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And for our audience that's listening today, because again, this is such a courageous conversation that we're having. I know that you're sober now, but it's come with a lot of heartbreak, a lot of stress and despair. So it's not an easy topic to talk about publicly. But if somebody is listening today and they know they're an alcoholic, they know it, the people in their lives know it, but they're just not ready to give it up, what would you say to them?
Life over on this side of the fence is so much better. You might not see it now. It might seem hopeless, but once you start doing the right thing and you try to get sober, and there's so many things that's happened in my life, and I've had these conversations with other people too that you just can't explain. Everything just starts coming together. Everything just starts working out, and it just becomes more rewarding and more thankful for the sobriety. And those are the kind of experiences that keeps you going and makes you want to work harder and stay sober.
I love that you ended today's interview on that note, because really it's a journey, right? I mean, no one ends an alcoholic stretch in a snap. It's really getting to know yourself and finding the right method of rehab, detox, or in your case, one-on-one therapy. It's not a one-size-fits-all, which is what I learned from you today, that there can be variation to it. So thank you very much for joining us today and sharing with us your story.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully anybody listening to this is struggling, just remember that sobriety life is so much better than where you're at. So get the help that you need.
Yeah. From your lips to the sobriety God's ears. So everybody takes advantage of that, because life is really good. And I'm with you, because I think of sometimes the nights that I've had a drink, and I'm not alcoholic, but you just kind of lose focus. Things do get a little bit more fuzzy. And to hear somebody's voice, to hear music, to have, really special memories, things get a little foggy when you're drinking. So sober is always a better way to go. So thank you for remembering that and reminding us of all that. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for being part of the show. And for everybody listening, it is never too late to break that addiction. In Brennan's case, it was alcohol. For other people, it may be food. It may be a person. It may be a relationship. Who knows? But you have the ability to break that cycle. It can start today. And really, it's about being honest. And we're going to be taking your calls. You can reach us in the next segment and we can talk it out. Or reach out to me at livingfullout.com. Personally, you and I can chat one-on-one. That's 310-909-7800. I'm here for you. And so we're going to be coming back in the next segment, but consider breaking those addictions and habits. What is it that you're ready to give up today? Let it free so you can live full out. We'll be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a Lost Cat Magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When it comes to breaking an addiction or a habit, it really starts with you, the desire to get to the other side, to want to feel free from that toxic behavior and environment that you're in. But when you make that mindset, when you know that you want that so much, then you turn to get the support from others that you need or the resources to give you over that pain, over that hurdle. I believe in you. I know you can break that addiction.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about breaking addictions, or even in some cases, habits. How do you let go of them and so you feel free, right? That exhale, let that go. That's how you want to feel. You want to be excited to get out of bed every day and have something purposeful to want to do and go after. But sometimes that's hard to figure out because how do we know what we want? And it's so easy to be drawn towards the toxic people and behaviors when we're still trying to figure out, what do we want? Who are we? What do we have to give? What, right? The thing is, I want you to slow down. I want you to just really be. Just be. Look around today at what do you have that you can be grateful for. And it may be people, it may be possessions, it may be anything. It may be something you're looking forward to that you've coming up. Focus on that. And then when you compare that with the toxic people, the addictions, the habits, don't give those as much power and focus on the positives. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can we help you?
Nancy, to give you a little bit of info, last year my father-in-law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. In February of this year, he moved in with his oldest son and his wife, and it's actually my sister-in-law who takes care of him all day. We just had a family reunion last week, and my father-in-law didn't recognize any of his children who were present. 3 of his kids were there. So I think that it looks like he is in an advanced stage of Alzheimer's. My sister-in-law, who takes care of him, has diabetes and gets tired very easily. So eventually, I think my father-in-law is going to have to move to a retirement home. My husband loves his dad very, very much, and the thought of having to send him to a home just terrifies him. And so my question to you is, how can I help my husband prepare for this transition?
You know what? I can tell you love your husband very much and your father-in-law. And and everybody in our Living Full Out community is going to send your family many, many positive wishes. Okay?
Thank you.
And that's first and foremost. But I think the thing that's so scary about life is the unknown, right? Because none of us know whenever we get to a point where we need assistance, right? It might be Alzheimer's. It might be that we just get older and we have to go to an assisted living. Maybe we can't walk anymore. Whatever that may look like, that's scary, that transition, because we don't know where we're going. And I think that the first place to start would to begin to get comfortable with different facilities and what they look like. And it's interesting, I'll share with you, my grandfather passed away on Easter. And he had been 100.5, so he just died of old age. But the thing is when we moved him to Palm Springs, California, we had to go on a hunt and a search to find a assisted living place that we felt comfortable with him being in. And it actually took 3 different homes before we found the 4th one that he actually ended up passing away at. And each of those 3 homes, he actually did live in them, and we chose to take him out for various reasons. Sometimes you don't know until you get into the home, the good and the bad of it. So I think right now, the best thing that you could do is just kind of go into research mode, identify where might be good places for your father-in-law to go, And then maybe you and your husband spend some time there. See if you can even talk to other residents that live there or even relatives of those people. If they have a cafeteria or a dining hall, see if you can go there for an evening, just you and your husband, and sit and look and watch and see how people are treated or how social it is or just what that environment might look like. I think the more you get educated on that, and it's not just the price, and it's not just what they have on their brochure. It's how it makes you and your husband feel in terms of being comfortable. Do you see that?
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
And and that's going to take a little time. That right there could take 3 to 6 months. So you don't want to be in a rush. You don't want to just put them somewhere. But at the same time, you might try one place on, maybe your first choice after you do the research. And then if you don't like it, if your father-in-law doesn't seem happy, don't be afraid to switch gears, pull him out of there and move him into somewhere else. I think that's the thing. We put too much pressure on one facility to be the end all, when really it's perfectly fine to test it out, and if it doesn't work out, move to a new one. Okay?
Yes. Okay, that sounds like a good plan.
Wonderful. Well, again, we'll be thinking of you, and thank you so much for calling in, and enjoy the rest of your day, okay?
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
You got it. Bye-bye. And for everybody listening, we are so grateful that you've called in, that you've spent your day with us, and we hope that you were inspired by our inspirational guest and breaking those addictions and habits. Our entire Living Full Out family is here to support you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Make sure to check us out at livingfullout.com to hear this show again, or go to Alexa if you have that, or the App Store to listen to our show on the go. Most of all, it's all about breaking those addictions and habits and leaping towards a life where you're living full out. Put a smile on that face. Go for it. I believe in you, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.